All right, joined now by Josh Reed, Sports Director, WIVB. He's getting ready for the big game, Patriots and Bills, this Sunday. All right, Josh, it's not very often the Bills are 3-0 and tied with the Patriots for first place in the AFC East. Tell us what the buzz is right now in and around Buffalo with this big game looming.
Well, there's cautious optimism. I mean, this is as good as the Bills' offense has looked in years, and of course a lot of that has to do with the maturation process of second-year quarterback Josh Allen. We kind of knew coming into the season that this Bills defense was going to be really good. Again, they were one of the best in the league last season, and so far they picked up where they've left off. But yeah, the fan base is cautiously optimistic, definitely going to have a good gauge after the Patriots game. Let's face it, the Bills coaching staff, head coach Sean McDermott, the players are all saying that this isn't a measuring stick to say where they are, that every game's a big game. They all drink that Kool-Aid. But at the end of the day, let's face it, this is the measuring stick. The Patriots, every time a team plays them, no matter who you are in the NFL, that is the measuring stick.
Now, the stats you can't overlook. Brady 30-3 all-time against the Bills. 16 wins in Buffalo, which is third all-time in that organization's history. Is it a matter of just getting over the hump? When you're talking to the players, do they mentally think they can beat the Patriots come Sunday? Well,
one of the things that all the Bills players say to a man is that they weren't here for all those games. I mean, and they weren't, quite frankly. I mean, this team has flipped over quite a bit. There's a lot of different names and faces on this team, just going back to when Sean McDermott took over a couple of years ago from Rex Ryan. And you start with quarterback Josh Allen. But I will say this, when you talk to Josh, for instance, about Tom Brady, you can't help but get that sense of he grew up watching Tom Brady. There is a little bit of that. He was his hero probably growing up, and there are some things that he learned from Tom. And, of course, if you're going to be a good quarterback in this league, that's probably a good guy to kind of watch and model your game after. If you can pick one or two things from Tom Brady and do that and apply it to your game, that's the way to do it. But to a man, you talk to the guys inside the locker room, and they go, you know what, we weren't here. Now, here's another stat for you. This just blew my mind away when my producer told me this the other day. Since the Bills played in the Super Bowl in 1994, that was their last Super Bowl appearance, 94, right? The Bills and the Patriots have played 50 times. The Bills have won 10 games. They are 10-40. And that's what you call a rivalry that is one-sided.
Yeah. But Josh Allen appears to be perhaps the best quarterback from that class 2 years ago. How has his play really motivated this offense that's looked pretty good in the first 3 weeks?
Well, he is certainly a leader, and that started to show itself actually last season. About midway through the year, running back LaShawn McCoy, who everybody knows obviously isn't here anymore, he's in Kansas City, but he pulls a lot of cachet in that locker room, and he got up at the podium and he just raved about Josh Allen's leadership and basically said, look, that's a guy I'll roll with any Sunday. So that kind of built that momentum and kind of probably gave Josh that confidence to kind of grab the reins of that leadership role, and that carried over to this year. He is the voice of the team. He is the face of the franchise, and he really embraces that, and he does a good job with it. Now, there's this fine line that he's walked in the first 3 games, and even kind of going back to last year, he has a gunslinger mentality. I mean, this guy has got an absolute cannon for an arm. There are throws that he can make that very, very few quarterbacks in the NFL can make. But sometimes that gets him in trouble. Sometimes he'll try to squeeze it in between 2 or 3 guys. Here's the thing. He's led several fourth-quarter comebacks. Now, 4 of them. He's only started 15 games, and he's led 4 fourth-quarter comebacks. That ratio is incredible. But here's the thing. A lot of times they have to come back because Josh Allen's put them in a spot where they've had to come back because he's turned the ball over a little bit. But you know what? At the end of the day, this is a quarterback play that we haven't seen here in Buffalo maybe since Jim Kelly, because, I mean, look at it this way. The last time they made the playoffs, Tyrod Taylor was the starting quarterback, and the knock on Tyrod was he's just so conservative. He doesn't let it rip. He's conservative. Now, whether that was Tyrod or the coaching staff kind of telling him that, I'm not really sure. Maybe it was a little bit of both. But now they've got a guy who will drop back and let it rip. And at the end of the day, he gives you a puncher's chance. And when you have that really good defense like the Bills do, you can take some gambles.
All right, I'll get you out in here on this. Whether or not the Patriots or Bills win on Sunday, when Buffalo comes to Foxborough in December, will the Bills be there fighting for a playoff spot?
I do believe so. I think the Bills are in a spot to be a 10-win team. I really do. I think the schedule shapes up nicely. Here's the thing. The Bills, they played the Jets, the Giants, and the Bengals. 3 teams that they had to beat in order to set themselves up for a meaningful game. And Foxborough, right at the end of the year, they did what they had to do. They were better than those 3 teams. So you had to be coming into this week 3-0. They've set themselves up. Here's the thing, though. It's so hard to forecast that far down the road because who knows how many injuries at quarterback have we seen around the league so far. I mean, the Saints look like a much different team today than they did a week before the season started.
All right, Josh, appreciate your coverage going into Patriots and Bills and look forward to it throughout the weekend and on game day.